Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Jim and Sam Town Square. I'm Scott King. Jim and Sam fans know me from the Forbes articles, and I'm joined, as always, by multi-Emmy Award-winning television producer Chris Cangilla. In this episode, recapping week 1 of June 2024, and some unfortunate news, sudden news. This will be our last show. This is a farewell show. I mean, we did it for over a year. I apologize in pulling the rug out from under this powerful locomotive of a podcast, but in all honesty, our family schedule is just getting insane, and I cannot leave my man Chris, who does so much for the show, here hanging. And we'll go back and forth. We'll talk about all the good stuff later. But Chris, I hope you know how much I appreciate you, man. And we'll get through this as a normal show and then kind of recap our whole show.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's total understandable. I mean, you got young kids, you're busy, you got a lot of stuff going. I'm in this twilight of my career and my kids are grown. It's a little easier for me to find the time. Totally understandable. I will truly miss our time together, but it's the town square is not completely closed. We'll figure out something we can do later on. So yeah, let's get into this week.
All right, man, let's do it. To start, so it was really cool. It was a good job that they teased it early in the week. And I don't know if you had a chance to listen to it, but I did listen yesterday, and I was really impressed with Jim's new album. First of all, a little props to Sirius. They played Jim's album on the Comedy Greats channel, so a little respect. I didn't even know that was a channel. But some respect there, putting them on there, putting the album on there. It was about 50 minutes. So it's a typical headliner set. And it seems like it was all from one club. Just, great material, great crowd. They did a Jim and Sam plug at the end. And it was like really official. So, I mean, no video, but they played Jim's special. It was great. And it's on demand now. And I saw that on iTunes, his album should debut June 21st. Did you have a chance to listen at all, Chris, or just opinion?
No, I haven't yet. I was on vacation most of last week and did a very fast catch up by listening to it on demand while I was on the plane flying back from Seattle. So I did a lot of that. So I haven't had a chance to get to Jim's thing yet, but I did do a little research on it. I think this is a new channel. I think it's channel 94, okay. Comedy Greats. Yep. Yep. You say that they treated him well. Well, I didn't see them put his name in amongst all the other comedians that they're promoting on the Comedy Greats. So it listed all the names online on the Sirius, website of who is going where. And there's no Jim in this little blurb about that. So yeah, he made it to the channel. He is a great, but they still find a way to F him somehow. But I'm just glad, whatever helps Jim, it's fine with me.
I agree. And Jim, he wasn't the only guy who had a major SiriusXM announcement to make this week. There was another one, and it was the promotion was very clear, wasn't it, Chris?
Yeah, of course, because, if anything that Rich Voss we're talking about online, it's always something that is very smart, well thought out, and just, oozes with, clarity. No, he was probably told that he was going to be on this Comedy Greats channel as well. And it said, please put in your information here, insert your show here and your channel here. And Rich just posted it straight from them. It's like getting something from Chat GPT and saying, oh, this is what I wrote. It's kind of nuts. But Sam had a little fun with him, give him a little grief on that. And of course, in Rich fashion, he just pushed it off to, well, my guy just did it.
Yes.
Well, maybe check your guy's work.
And that's, and honestly, that's what I did not appreciate on Thursday is that Sam was putting him in check, and Bonnie was on the phone. You could hear her in the background. Yeah. And she backed Rich up. She's like, oh, he sends it to a guy. I'm like, that's not very Bonnie of you. Like, let's hammer him for not, having some oversight and, give it a glance before you send it off, even if someone else is doing it.
As Jim is on many things, I do appreciate, and I'd probably be the same way. If I had a guy doing stuff as Jim has guys doing things, he double and triple checks how things go out. We saw how Hot Dog has screwed up Sam's stuff before, so it can happen.
Yeah, even if you don't look over everything every single time, you have to jump in and look just so your people know that you do check sometimes,
Absolutely.
Good thing to do. Speaking of Jim, I mean, we're maybe in the last several months of their show, and after Jim's been on Sirius for 20 years, right? Over 20 years.
Yeah, 20, yeah.
And we're still getting new stories, little Jimmy stories that are one of the staples of the O&A universe. We hear him talk at length about going to rehab. This is, I think I want to say a Tuesday, Monday or Tuesday, and I mean, there's a guy, an older guy there. Was it his roommate? I don't remember if I
Yeah,
know there was a
I
guy
think it
in the
might have been
rehab
his roommate. Yeah, I think Jim
roommate.
was around 17 and this guy was what is in late 20s maybe or something like that.
I think you're
Maybe
right. I
even
think he said it
older.
was like 29 or 26 or
Yeah.
29, I want to say.
Yeah.
Anyways, guy buys Jim alcohol in the rehab. Jim gets thrown out. And I forgot this part, but it sounds right. Did he try to go back to school after he had like a little stint in rehab?
Yeah, they all were talking about like graduation and going to college and stuff. And then, of course, Jim didn't graduate from high school. And he just brought up all this stuff and the older guy buying him booze, but I think Jim didn't get kicked out because Jim lied and said, "No, no, no, he didn't buy me booze," when everybody in there knew that he did because he
That's
shared
right.
the stories.
That's
So
right.
yeah, he said, then I tried to go back to school, but he was just too embarrassed for going into rehab at that age and stuff. And he said, "Nah, I gave up on it and stuff." So yeah, it made me, it was funny what he was talking about, but it made me kind of sad because Jim is so smart. You can only imagine if this guy, did graduate high school, went on, to college, even though he hates college, what he could have done, even with his comedy but who knows? It probably wouldn't have been as funny.
I think it's just another example that and reminder that every phase of whether it's little Jimmy or to adult Jimmy now, every phase of his life could be a book or a movie. I mean, just
Yeah.
this, who is this guy who's buying alcohol for, there's so many interesting, seedy people from his background and the things he's been through in his life. I mean, everything's just fascinating with Jim. It's one of the reasons that people are drawn to the show.
And it's the reason why his new CD and the show on Sirius is called, Gender Reveal Disaster. Every bit of
Good
Jim's
call, yeah.
life is something new, and now we're in this gender thing that he's working with his wife. So yeah, it's everything. Every faction of Jim's life is interesting, of course, to us, and I assume to many others.
I'm glad you said the name of the special. I think it's an amazing name. And when you look up on iTunes to see when it's going to come out, I think you probably pre-order it. He has this little cartoon for for the name of the album. It's pretty funny. People should check that out. Something we got to check out this week. I mean, they have some kind of intern academy over at Jim and Sam. I mean, you get a guy, new guy's name is Jordan, intern Jordan. We have thoughts. You get a guy in here, doesn't get any of the references, but I feel like he already fits into their world. Like they're already back and forth with him. He's like loves the mic, but he doesn't understand any of the references, but he still works out somehow. What were your impressions of intern Jordan?
Yeah, I thought he was great. I was concerned a little bit that he might be a little too mic happy and not know, Cooper knew when to chime in, right? When he was an intern. Jordan is going in there a little strong, but he's got good stuff. When Jim was out on Thursday, Jordan was there more, and he even alluded to, am I talking too much? So, like me, he probably thinks that, people don't want to hear from him and is worried about that. But yeah, he has doesn't get the reference, didn't know who Voss was. We heard that his grandmother was a hoarder. It took them 3 years to clear out her place.
It's
So he
amazing.
has neat little facts
Yeah.
about each little thing that they talk about. And I'll share a couple more, and then I want you to share the last one. But he heard gasms, and he hears it quite frequently on the show, so that was kind of funny. And then he became part of the Nordy and Rob's layout there, and he's young Jordy. So yeah, he did a lot of stuff. But then he had some interesting things on Disney. Do you want to share those?
Yes. He seems to be, you know, you got to watch what you say. This is all public record, but it seems like he may know some more Disney than Trav Dog. He knew about, and guess what? I knew the Bugs Life 3D movie. I
Yeah,
knew about it because we've taken our kids to it, so I knew that was there. And
yeah.
and I've said on the
Travis
show,
didn't.
Travis has helped me, and it sounds like he knows like where everything is, and he's giving me suggestions for young kids. So I was stunned that young intern Jordan knew about Bugs Life, and there was some other attraction that Travis didn't know about, and it is an Animal Kingdom. It's a 3D
They
movie.
went. he did know about the Bum F Jamboree by its normal name
Right.
and has attended to that. But yeah, he knew his folks, I guess, take he and his brother to their every year, except for one because poor Jordan was in college and they took his
No.
brother who's in high school to and lied about it to Jordan. So he's got some good stories, man. He's fitting in nicely in his first, 2 days on
Yeah.
air.
You might be right. Maybe a little hot out the gate, but like I'm buying. I'm buying right
I'm
now.
buying in. Yeah,
It's
I'm
something.
in.
You have a good point. His being Mike happy. I think he's right. He's right, kind of where he should be, maybe a little beyond, but that makes it interesting. If he crosses this kind of gray
Yeah.
area, could be in trouble. You might see him get on the
And
bench a little bit. Something to
and
monitor.
yeah, all those guys will bench him if he's getting to be too much. But what he's bringing to this show has been pretty much, maybe not gold yet, but definitely silver.
And a caller who unfortunately does sound worse every time he calls now. We hope he's okay. We hope he rebounds from his health issue. But Black Adam brought something to the show that we have talked about. We talked about and when they started Nordy and Rob's, poor Mikey in the corner didn't get a sound effect. Now he has one because Black Adam brought it to attention. So everyone, this is why we did this show. People think the same way we do about the show and notice things. And so, what do you remember? Like, kind of the precise sound
Yeah,
effect
it,
again?
it was Hans and Franz. We want to pump you up, and
Classic.
I think they just use the pump you up part. But it makes sense with Mike, being the muscle Mike as he's called on Norton and Robs, or Nordy and Robs, I should say.
Nordy
But
and
yeah, it was good to hear from Black Adam, even though his voice is just horrible, and I guess he needs surgery, but he needs to raise some money for about $3,000. So I wish someone would do like a GoFundMe or something,
yeah, I mean, think of the show. I'm sure would share that. We would share that.
for sure.
I'm just start
But
up, help out Adam.
yeah, I always kind of think about this, and it's like, God, Jim has that in pocket change, but he can't just start opening up that gate because then every Tom, Dick, and Harry who needs something will hit up, our hosts here. So
And he's monitoring other adults' credit card usage.
yeah, he's
This
in a
guy's
different part of his life.
doesn't
He
know
has
about
to
the
take the subway
contract.
for he has to take the subway for Christ's sake.
Taking the
So
subway, has to watch the
yes,
new contract. What's going to happen? Which I like. You know, we're our last show here. We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. It's been so much back and forth with how Jim feels, and maybe he does want to stay, even if it's kind of right where they are, or a little lower. Maybe the offer. So we'll see.
yeah, I mean that's kind of what I was thinking about it, that if we have to break in with an emergency show, down the road here, that would be probably one if Jim's done or if he's staying.
Might not be unheard of.
We'll see.
So somewhere Jim did stay with Nikki. And, we're thinking about where we're going to go for summer vacation this year. Never been to Cape Cod. It seemed like Jim really liked it. Didn't like the Airbnb he stayed at. They Jim said him and Nikki hated. So I think she might have got added to the list. Hated the lady they stayed at because her house because it smelled like food, and I believe she was following them around. Right, Chris?
Yeah, it just smelled odd, and like Jim was saying, that is she worried that we're gonna take something from her house or something? I don't know. I'm not sure if it was this trip that happened or not, if they're referring back to another trip. I kind of got a little confused in
I
that
might
part
have.
because
Well, I thought it was this.
nah, yeah, they did stay in the hotel and they did one of their live streams, of which I watched a little bit more of that. And it's just I love them both. I think they're both entertaining, but Nikki is infuriating because she wants to, get everything set up, and Jim's trying to have a conversation, trying to figure out the tech and read these things, and she's want to show what she bought, and just she's
Yeah,
so girly. It just has their
yeah,
showing.
yeah.
Just sit down and wait until we get everything. So that infighting, even though they're not really fighting, is entertainment. So keep on doing it.
The running gag I like in their videos is Nikki getting mad at potential sponsors. Like you haven't sponsored us yet. I'm not wearing this anymore.
Yeah, she's
F
getting mad. Like
you.
Jim's like, "Are you think that they're gonna do it now?"
Yeah, that's not going to help.
Yeah,
It's amazing. And speaking of their YouTube, they have a new Norwegian festival that they go to, I believe, right in New York there. As always, I like their slice of life videos maybe the most because you see
yeah,
their it's usually an event, something's happening, but you see their day to day, super interesting and hilarious. We talked about I like their their live feed where they're just answering fan questions too.
right.
And the podcast is good. So I mean, they got kind of a nice three-pronged attack with their YouTube channel. I think they're around 20,000 subscribers now. So it's growing and growing. The stuff is great. Stay glued to their channel. I really enjoy it.
Sure.
Speaking of Jim, things he really enjoys that, he's just, just one more and he's done, past few years now. Kiss posters. One from Italy came in. One from Italy. I think that one's unscathed, right? The big one's
That one
okay.
made it. Yeah, I
Italy.
think so.
Happy
Yeah.
about that. But, and man, you see my background. You guys know I'm a collector. 3 posters arrived damaged. I've really not bought or sold anything just on Facebook. I have a Facebook page for my comic book listings on eBay. But like, just sending to someone and in good faith, they'll send you PayPal. It's a little dangerous, a little hairy. I hope he gets his money back.
Yeah, I mean, just to receive it that way, these damaged cardboard ends of this tube that inside of it is just
Yeah.
brutally beaten up, and it's
Yeah.
not vintage. And then they're talking about one of his posters might have this backing on it that isn't, it doesn't make it original, it makes it more stiff. That might have been sprayed on or something. So you just never know what you're getting in there. But yeah, it's okay because Jim's done, so this shouldn't happen to him again. He's done
But
buying
he's
Kiss
not gonna get any
posters, right?
more.
Yeah,
There's not any more posters
there's
to
no
get.
reason to worry about it.
If we had to do like one of those like analytical projections, I wonder how long it would take till Jim does own all of the Kiss posters from every country, every era. Might be just looking at another like 12 years or something. He has every Kiss poster at the rate he's going.
It's
Um,
just remarkable.
yeah, insane, awesome. Speaking of things that are broken, Nicole did break some property of Sam's, and to me, the interest hilarious already because of who's involved. You could picture it happening. To me, the interesting part is the aftermath here and how this was kind of there was a bow put on the situation, maybe a way I wouldn't expect.
Yeah, it was I guess Sam had, and I can't remember who the other woman is, another Sirius XM alum, if you will, another radio podcast person, but they had a third wheel, if you will, on their podcast. So Sam had to really kind of expand his little set. So he moved one of the cameras back so that it could, include this new guest. And he doesn't have the cabling for it. So it's a little bit of Sam's fault. And Nicole, in her giant feet, as Sam says, and her googly-eyed glasses, tripped over it, knocked it over the tripod, and the camera fell. Then she went to go pick it up, and in the process of picking it up, unlocked the tripod, the camera from the tripod head, and dropped the camera, and that's where it really smashed. But yeah, they broke it, and then Sam and his Samdom had called, Matt and
Let him know.
told him on the podcast what happened and had Matt comment on her having to replace it.
I think it's fair. I mean, like you probably, if you saw that, some equipment just get completely broken. Cameras are not, or they're not cheap.
No, they're not cheap.
Taylor Strucker was the other person, I
Yeah,
believe.
that's who I was thinking of. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, but I mean, just hilarious story. I love that Matt's like, you got to pay for it, and then so that's gonna get taken care of. I would say appropriately. Like,
Sam said it's already done, already taken
oh
care
yeah,
of.
okay, nice,
So
nice.
yeah, of course.
I might feel bad asking, but they are pricey.
Yeah. And that was funny too, because I think Nicole just signed a new contract. So he's like, there goes a new contract money. She goes, yeah, new. So I work at Sirius. It wasn't a lot of new contract money. So
That's amazing. They talked about some early, and they've done these breaks before, but not quite as deep as we went here. Early MTV clips. Talked about some music videos, some songs, and I got into spring break. And there's a spring break comedy show, and I think I remember this because I was definitely watching Spring Break when I was a young lad in the mid '90s, and Jim Brewer hosted it. And there's some young up and coming comics on the show, Chris.
yeah, I remembered it well too. I started my news career in the early 90s, and when you're a videotape editor, you have any kind of shows on while you're editing, and we'd always have MTV on, a lot. So I remember the spring break and the comedy shows and whatnot, but I don't remember Bob Kelly, first of all, coming on, and they said Bob was gorgeous at this era with a nice set of hair and thin. And someone else that they just wanted to speed past and not listen to. Well, one person wanted to speed past and not listen to. Everybody else wanted to hear. A young Jim Norton. We got to
Young
hear
Jimmy.
his jokes, and he wasn't as bad as he thought. Right? I
No,
didn't think so.
no, it was still it's interesting because I listened to that and then listened to his new special. The way he talks and performs is still very similar. The way he kind of is like, a little ticked off, given
And
his
always has a a visual reaction to something or
Yeah,
an
right.
audio like ugh, ugh,
Yeah,
some
yeah, you can
faces.
picture it.
Yeah.
For sure. I just, just that there is that, and he hit the nail on the head. There's just with him and Bobby, there's this desperate young, hey showbiz, I want to make it energy,
Yeah.
and his voice is like a little higher, I think. So super interesting. Yeah, Jim was really funny. Bob had some funny stuff, but it's just disappointing that his big catchphrase didn't catch on, Chris. And that, of course, would be marshmallows.
Marshmallows, marshmallows.
Marshmallows, Bob, and it just complete silence. Sam had a, I don't know if I'm blowing up your line of Luke spot, but Sam had a great. Or was it Jim? That Yeah, I think it was Jim that you could just hear the ocean waves crashing because no
Yes.
one was laughing at marshmallows.
Yeah, definitely Norton looked a lot better than Bob Kelly in this
He did.
whole venue.
He did. And moving on, there was a complete disaster avoided. It could have been World War III in terms of the terms of service saga. Uh, I don't know. I don't know if you caught on to this. It was at the end of Wednesday's show, but they're talking about Major League Baseball salaries. And Travis always has a lot of really good takes and has a lot of good information about baseball. He's a baseball guy. Gotta give him that
Right.
credit. Of course, know Sam's stories and love for Jim Abbott. Jim's, I believe, an old.
Did he love Jim Abbott or did he also love that hat that he did not get? I'm not sure which one he loved more, but he didn't get that baseball
Well,
cap.
absence makes the heart grow fonder, so he might
Fair
like
enough.
didn't get it. His dad didn't get it for him.
Love that
He call him
story.
sweetie when he painted his nails though. Um,
Yes.
but no, they're talking about the salaries, and Travis had to look up the minimum salary. Even if you're a fan, you probably don't know it off the top of your head. And he first link he clicked on, don't know what it was. Right when he said 58,000 for baseball's minimum
Extremely
salary, I
low.
knew that was not. He should have known. I knew it was not
Maybe,
accurate.
single A bus leagues, in Alaska is
Yeah, I like
58,000,
yeah,
but
like maybe the very like lowest minor league, but like
right.
I couldn't even picture anything that low for a pro athlete. Anyways, it was pointed out that Travis was wrong, and he looked it up, and I believe found the right answer. And then they started to get a little short, a little essy. But yeah, oh, no, it's fine, it's fine, it's corrected.
Fine.
And
So,
then
correct. I found it. I found the
yep,
answer.
and so it was playing out, and I think it was Troy who had maybe the best observation is, come on, this gonna be terms of service. Jim's starting to get angry. And I did hear Jim like, what? Okay. Like I did hear a little of the Norton, like, here's
Mhm.
Travis again. I'm ready to go. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
even
He
though they're
did get
great friends and the show's been awesome. And then the show ran out of time. Travis started to laugh and dial it back. So did you catch on to all this? Did you think we had
Yeah,
a
I felt
chance
the
for
same thing. I felt like he was approaching that, and I did look down at how much show we had left. I'm like, oh
yeah.
no, here we go. But yeah, it was resolved. He moved on. So he's learning, Scott. He's growing.
We
He's
all
maturing. So it's a new Travis.
It is a new Travis. And he did a little saved by the bell. He did dial it back though. I gotta give him a little credit. Was able to laugh at himself, I will say.
Absolutely.
Speaking of Travis, we talked about this before. You always want Jim in there. You always want Jim and Sam together. But Jim traveling, we had a Thursday show that no Jim, but you get have Sam interacting more with Travis and Troy, and then Paul Verzi comes in kind of as a, we'll call him a guest, but
Yeah.
maybe a little co-host action later in the show, and it's great stuff. Like this got me thinking that if there is a Sam vehicle without Jim, and it's him and Travis or Troy or the three of them somehow working together still, I will listen pretty religiously to that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think they need somebody who's not like them because they are very similar. They're all roughly in the same age. They like the same type of music, and we'll talk about this in our farewell. But what I love most about the show is there's a guy in my age group that's a host. Jim shares the same things that I
Sure,
remember from the
sure.
70s and the 80s. And I think that's what makes it good. And his weirdness and his takes on things, I think you need that. If everybody's agreeing or everybody's from the same town, if you will, there's not enough discussion. So they need somebody who is odd. Now, it's not going to, we're just speculating. Rich Voss is not going to work. You need somebody who's strong, but in that same ilk. I mean, Bob Kelly is perfect, same kind of thing, but he is also a little bit more hip than Jim. I don't know, man. I like the show as it is, but I think I'll probably listen to if it's just those guys.
I feel like there was a while a couple years ago where Bob and Sam were doing a lot of stuff together.
Yeah.
So I could see that working, but Sam's got studios basement and having Nicole there every week. What is it, twice a week or just once?
Just
Um,
once.
once, but I mean, I think that's already in motion. So I don't know his WWE stuff. So it'll be very interesting to see what Sam does and Jim, and maybe they just stay. We will see. Maybe they get another few years. Um, so that talk was great. And that's kind of where we found out more about Jordan on Thursday. Started, you know, giving Travis a Disney education, which we're not used to. Let's get to best guest. Just to great Florentine appearance early in the week, and then I thought Verzi was really good with Sam. I got another. I don't want to say older, but he's older than Sam
Yeah, different
comic
perspective. Yeah.
who has a good rapport with Sam there and Paul Verzi. So, what do you think of the two guests?
I enjoyed them. I thought Florentine did a really great job in talking about fantasy football. They had a really long discussion in there, and he was being very sarcastic, but he hates fantasy football so much. But then he goes like, my son's playing. It's like, it is for a child. It's for a young person. It's not if you get to be 26 and you're still doing fantasy football, stop, he says, So, I'm 55. I'll be still doing fantasy football. So yeah, I mean, just I don't take my computer and go to, Buffalo Wild Wings and watch the game and, all that stuff. But yeah, I enjoy it. So yeah, it was really funny. He was great. They talked about bands and bands playing live. So, you know what you get with Jim. I mean, Florentine would be a good mix for Sam's, next venture, but I don't know. Florentine probably could get on people's nerves after a while because he's such a Debbie Downer. It's funny for a while, but then it's like, geez, does this guy like anything? And then for Verzi, I thought he was interesting. He's always interesting. He's so wound, so tight that you just wait for him to explode. But we didn't get too deep with him before Voss called in, and I think our friend Miguel kind of alluded to this in his post earlier that Voss kind of killed the vibe a little bit. So, what are your thoughts on our guests?
I really like them both. I agree, and it's fine when you have just two guests in a week for Jim and Sam. For me, Florentine, the way that Sam kind of directs him towards these rants about the fantasy football one, I feel like is was a legendary rant already, and he kind of did it. I think they were talking because he kind of did it on another show, but I'll go with Florentine for best guest, but you just kind of made me think of a bigger point that we're going in my mind. I'm just going, yeah, Sam has good rapport. That comic, Sam has good rapport. Wait a minute, Sam's very good at establishing chemistry with whoever a co-host or guest is. Like Sam deserves a good amount of credit for that. I think he
Yeah,
finds
I mean,
like where his thing is with somebody where they can go back and forth, and he can take them down a road, and I mean he's great at it.
so let's just think about back when it was Opie and Anthony, and Opie had a certain role that Opie didn't like that role, but he was good at keeping the train on the tracks. Well, Sam's good at that as well, but what he's better than Opie at is that Sam has good rapport with the comedians, has comedic timing, knows when to let things breathe, knows when
And
to let really talented people shine and not try to be part of it.
that is an excellent point. He just does. He's not turning the mic around and saying, "You
Yes,
guys
exactly.
go." Sitting with his
Yeah.
arms folded because he's can't make a funny. He's can be funny. He can do a great interview. He can send somebody down there, where they're funny. So 100%
And he
agree.
always,
Awesome
and I
point.
always think Sam has the best ideas on things. I mean, he really does. Like if there's something, and I think sometimes this is true of guys like you and I too, is like, I really would like to see these guys do this. Sam has an idea for Jim to do. Jim has all this talent, but none of this, it's not drive because Jim's very motivated, but none of this, oh, I'm going to call it this and I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do a show based on that. Sam has all these great ideas
He
and
does.
he has talent enough to do some of those things, but he's not a stand-up. So having these ideas for stand-ups is another thing that Sam, I think, really excels in, and it's another one of his gifts.
Yeah, he's not. And as you said, at the same time, his timing is so good, and his chemistry is so good with all these amazing comics that like he sure comes off that way on the radio. Stage is a different thing. People are there to see stand up is a different thing, but
Yeah,
he really has a good rapport with comics and can hang with them. It's very impressive, I think.
yeah.
Let's get to last line of the week here. Do you have one? I have one that was like superficial for me when I heard it.
You hit it, and then I'll go with mine.
Okay, I hope I'm not taking yours.
If you do, I'll
They were
laugh.
talking about this is Jordan involved. Jordan involved is yours.
Mine is not Jordan involved, so
Okay.
we're in good shape.
Okay. It's not Jordan. He didn't say it, but they were kind of, finding out more about Jordan. We went to Hofstra, where Travis went. to college, and they were joking about how oh you see the statue of Travis there, and they're saying oh yeah like Michelangelo's David, and Troy, our guy Troy, one of the lines of the year, just one word, microphallus. Like
Microphallus.
David, Travis as a statue.
There's a First
I
of all,
thought
there'd
about
be
it
a
all week.
statue there at the college, not happening. But that statue, if it was of Travis, would have a microphallus.
Just like the
Perfect.
David. Yes.
Yes.
I loved it. Absolutely loved it. What was yours?
And that continued on all for the, I think he said it maybe on Tuesday or Wednesday, and they kept on bringing it back the rest of the week and talking about it anytime that they talked with young Jordan about the statue. So yeah, for mine, it was when Florentine was in, and they were all talking about these singers, like if they record, like the band records live in concert, right? But the vocals don't sound really good, they'll go back and re-record the vocals, like Ozzy would do that and that kind of thing from a live concert. And Sam was just talking like maybe they do it, during a sound check when, it's a little quieter in there and maybe get that, record some room tone. And for those people that don't know what room tone is, that's just the sound of the room. So it doesn't sound like we're in a quiet studio. You actually sound like you're in the concert hall. And he was talking with Florentine. He goes, maybe they just do it during sound check. And Florentine said, I wouldn't know if they would do that because I don't know if they record or do anything without an audience in the same venue. And Jim said, sure you do. Florentine, what it's like to not have an audience in there.
I remember
And
that
Jim
one.
just like, boom, like, I don't know what it'd be like without an audience in the venue. And Jim goes, sure you do. Prime, fast Jimmy, and a great way to end our quest for the line of the week.
Absolutely. Textbook Norton. And we got some kind of recapping, looking back. I don't want to say in remembrance, but
It is in the
let's
remembrance
look.
of the town square.
It is. Let's get to our favorite Jim and Sam show, Town Square moments or memories. I got definitely have a few.
Why don't you
You
kick us
go
off?
first?
You start it.
For me, we we'll I don't want to say anything too much from interviews. I think we'll talk about that next. We were lucky to have a handful of great interviews, people associated with the
Yeah.
show come on our show. We both love the Christmas show, like all the fans do. And I remember we met for lunch last year, and late last year for around Christmas time. And I remember just listening to the whole Christmas show, and then knowing that me and you were going to meet, have lunch, and talk about it. And then you gave me this amazing Jim and Sam Christmas ornament, Town Square Christmas ornament, with our interview of Sam and Nicole on it, and our logo. And I love that. Put it up every year. Now I'm going to. So that was one of my favorite. Like that's a real Town Square day. I felt like, but a lot of great moments. I think.
Yeah, it was. That was a wonderful moment, and that led into our best of for the year, and looking at those moments again. So that's still out there. So if anybody wants to go
Yeah.
back and check that out, that was fun. But I look at some of the things that we discussed on the show that I really enjoyed. I'm wearing one of them right now, the
Oh
cold
God,
coffee,
I love
and
that
getting this
shirt.
shirt. And this is a shirt that you gave me that I absolutely love. I wanted to wear it today. But just, talk about the Kiss posters. I think it was an ongoing thing throughout the length of this podcast. The soiree. We still don't know if that's ever
Oh,
going to happen. And it's been a year, that
yeah.
we started talking about it. Of course, there's a lot of talk about domesticated Jimmy, and all of his iterations with the windows and the insects and all the things he was trying to do. And then another moment that I will never forget is when we found out about Nikki being Jim's wife.
Great call.
It was after the week, it was like a Thursday night. I went and got a haircut, and you text me saying, did you see the post? And I'm looking at the post. I go, is this real? And you go, I think so. And we're on the phone trying to figure it all out. It was like a mystery. It was like, is this real? Is he goofing around? Is this really his wife? And we didn't know that, she was transgender. So we like looking at that
Yeah.
part and go, oh, okay, this makes sense, blah, blah, blah. And then to have them on, a couple months later is just
Awesome.
remarkable. And then just, following up with stuff that we love, with, of course, Jan Terry and all that stuff. And then, talking with Sam and Jim. That was great. We'll get into that. But they showed appreciation for what we did here in the town square and mentioned all the time, thanks, guys, for what you're doing. You do a really good job. We appreciate it. And we didn't do it for the accolades, but it's just nice to get that rub, right? When someone
Yeah.
appreciates what you're doing. So those
Yeah.
are kind of the memories that I have from doing the town square.
100%. I don't know if I'm taking this from you, but there's definitely some fans to thank. Miguel, not San Miguel on Instagram, hilarious memes. It was one of our guests and would always, share our stuff on social media. So thanks to Miguel for being a fan and a friend, and Razorlicious on Twitter. And
Definitely raise the list.
there
Yep.
seemed to be more and more people who are listening and commenting and saying nice things. So we really appreciate it. I mean, it's really cool to see that there's people interested in the show we're interested in, like,
Yeah,
you know.
right.
So
It's a
that was
family.
awesome.
Yeah. Everybody. I mean, Razorlicious is one of our best supporters, and always, after we post something, we'll post some insight, or
Yeah,
check them out here, or that was funny there, and
yeah,
just really enjoy. Now, I don't know, and maybe Razorlicious, you'll let us know more about you, because
serious.
it's out there, and we don't know we don't know if you're a man or a woman or whatever. Who knows?
Who
We'll
knows? Who
support you.
knows who this
We're into it.
Razorlicious is?
Exactly. So yeah, it's nice to get those supports, and it's also nice to think, the comments that we hear of, why would anybody want to do a show about a show that no one likes anymore? Well, why are
Right.
you listening to us?
Yeah, you're wasting a lot of energy.
There's a lot of comments of who are these idiots talking about this show? It's just awful. I can just hear Florence, awful,
Oh, Jim and Sam.
I'm surprised we didn't make it to those that one podcast that trashes all the other podcasts. Who are these
I know. I was
podcasts?
kind of waiting for it too. Like, look at these guys. Like, who
Yeah,
cares
who are
about Jim
these
and Sam?
idiots?
We do, and some other people do. So,
Exactly.
yeah, no, for sure. Well said. And getting back to the guests we had on. I mean, just we start with Troy. Name the show, Town Square. Have Troy on first. What did he give us? Over an hour. So we did a two-parter with him. You guys can go back and watch it. Um, I think was our biggest one. Thousands of views. I think all of our maybe not Mr. Selman, we'll see soon, but everyone else got thousands of views, and I think Troy was the biggest one because people are just fascinated by him, and he was so great. Talked about his music career, O&A days, Jim and Sam. Big thanks to Troy, always a big supporter on social media too, and the times I called in, I think there's one time I got on when they had Craig Schumacher in, and I said something to take that conversation farther because I knew that Jim and him had a thing, and they hashed it out. So yeah, just thanks to Troy for being Troy, being awesome. But after Troy, we were talking to Nicole, and Nicole's like, "Well, I'm emailing with her, DMs, slid in DMs, then we're emailing." She's like, "Well, would you guys want?" We had to cancel. She, who knows if there was a big night out or something, and she couldn't hang, but we had to cancel the first time we are gonna do it with Nicole. And then she got back to me, and then like next week we're gonna do it or something. And she's like, "Well, would you guys want Sam too?" Well, Jim and Sam Town Square. I think we'll take Sam. So it
Yeah.
was Sam and Nicole, and that was just so awesome. Like I said, you put on the ornament for me, so I got that. That was great. A lot of people check that out, and then we get Jim and Nikki. I mean, I've been lucky enough to interview Jim a bunch of times for Forbes and other outlets, but to have Nikki and Jim and on our show was so great. You did a great job putting that together. You had clips from their show in there. That was an awesome one. Then we get after that, we get Miguel. Miguel's maybe. Oh, no, I'm sorry, I forgot. Miguel was after Troy, I think.
Yeah, Miguel was after Troy.
Yeah,
Miguel was before Jim and Sam. Yeah.
yeah, he was awesome. Learn more about him and all the things he likes about the show, and when he's called in. Like that was a really interesting interview that fans will like. And then then we had Sam, Nicole, Jim, and Nikki, and last but not least, the great Phil Selman was a great last guest because we've been, as we track most things, we tracked Phil's ascension to Millennium. Let's say he was great. So
Hope he
let
doesn't
me
sing
you
that
go first.
song.
That
Isn't
song, they
that
were just
the
talking about the song recently. Who was your
Yeah.
favorite guest, or what were some of your favorite guest memories?
Yeah, so I have two things I want to discuss in this thing, and I enjoyed talking to them all. Like I said to you before when we started this thing, just a chance to talk to Jim and Sam, the namesake of the show, and guys we've been listening to forever, one-on-one like this, that was a high point. That was an incredible thing
Yeah,
for us to have on the show. That is just two idiots talking about stuff they like. It'd be like, if you did a football podcast and you got to have Tom Brady on it. It's like Tom Brady will do my show, something like
That is a
that.
comparison I 100% stand behind.
Yeah,
I agree.
it was
Love
crazy. So for me though, Troy, he was the first one to say yes. I've always loved Troy,
it.
being a musician. He's so cool. We, DM back and forth when we like music. We'll share something, or I see something, that he does or whatever. He's been very cool in on the Instagram stuff. But I will say, and now that really doesn't matter because the show's not going on there. I was so disappointed that Travis never either said he was going to come on or wanted to come on. The offer was made many times, and we wanted to have Montone on in the early stages, and Montone voiced that maybe he's not allowed to come on
He
or
said it's
something
more of a
like that.
contractual thing. Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe true. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? It could be an excuse like, why would I want to come on your stupid show? But yeah, I was disappointed. We really wanted to get everybody in there, and I specifically, with my producing background, I really wanted to talk to Travis and his daughters in track. And my daughter, went to university and graduated and was in track, so we had a lot of common things. And I like Travis a lot. We make fun of him
Yeah,
and
yeah, I
do
love
the
Travis.
BSy stuff, but I love Travis, and I would have liked to talk to him a bunch. So I'm disappointed in that. That's where a couple misses are for me. Any misses for you?
No, about the same. And I kind of understood. I think Travis, I think for me to get him, I think it was the second Forbes article. I kind of like, and Sam pointed out after I wrote it, I kind of shaped it around Travis and how he was late going to O&A for his first day because his alarm didn't go off. And then thank God it worked out. Look where he is now. And he kind of talked through the show. I think that was a very rare interview that I was able to get him for. I don't think he likes this is my 2 cents. He hasn't really directly said it. I don't think he likes interviews. I think maybe he
We've never
thought that he already said that maybe he thinks that he already said everything he could say about Jim and Sam and O&A in my interview. I talked to him for in between 30 minutes and an hour, and he was outstanding for the Forbes. I wish we could have had him. I think it would have been different and fans would have enjoyed it, but
Yeah, I don't think he's ever been on any other podcast or anything. No one's ever
I'm
really
sure
talked
he
to him, have
he
you?
did he did Anthony's, and I mean it's you got to
Oh,
do
well, that makes sense. I mean,
yeah.
it's got to
So no,
work
I
with.
agree, and
Yeah,
I'm sure other requests have been made. Just
yeah.
he did chips, I think, but that's very
It's
very
still
close to
somebody associated. Yeah,
yeah.
if I heard that he was on somebody else's, I'd be like, okay,
Right,
he
right.
just doesn't like us. But no, yeah, I mean, it was great, and just to be able to get the things that we did get, and since we're kind of wrapping it up here, I want to share with our listeners that and viewers that our partnership, you and I, worked so well because I don't have the contacts. I'm not in that field. And you were able to always reach out to the guys and see who would be willing to come and talk to us and have more of the inside baseball stuff that I always appreciated. And I thank you so much because I mean we would never gotten any one of those guys on there without you greasing the wheel a little bit to get us where we need to go. So thank you.
Oh, sure. You could have. I mean, you're a production expert. You can send some DMs and track down emails, but no, I'm happy to do it. I mean, yeah. I mean, I can't say how much you say. I have kids, but your production is a very busy job as it is, and then you always added these episodes to your plate every week. Your guidance and I couldn't. My videos on YouTube need a lot more dressing up, and for you to just do this and then make everything look real nice and put a bow on everything. Your attention to detail, your dedication to this show, and how much time you spend. I appreciate it so much, and you're an awesome dude, and we're still gonna be good pals, and like you said, we never know what's gonna happen. So thanks for everything, man. I really appreciate it, Chris. You're so great with this show. It means a lot. I know what you're doing. You froze. Oh no. Oh no. See if you can come back in. Make everything look real nice and put a bow on everything.
Did you freeze on me? Something happened there. Wow. It froze. So we're back, and that wasn't meant to happen. That froze, and that's so hilarious, man. I can't believe that happened. And of course, this may be the God's way of telling us that that don't do your podcast anymore, you guys can't do it right. This is the first time that's ever happened of all the 65 shows that we put out. This is the first time.
Wow. Yeah, I think the good Lord is saying you guys did one too many.
Yes, stop it. Please stop. Unbelievable. Yeah, we did 65 episodes. I think this is the 65th episode. You mentioned that Troy was probably our most popular episode. He was until recently. Jim and Nikki surpassed him by
That's right.
100. So we're in the high 3000s with that one. We're not setting the world on fire, but we appreciate the support and people watching that stuff. That was very fun. So I can't believe that it's coming to an end, but like I talked to you before, man, if something major happens, we can get the guys back together, meaning you and me, and do this thing over in case we need to share with the people that love the town square so much, right, buddy?
Exactly. You never know what's going to happen, and you have to go back and watch my heartfelt message because you haven't seen it yet. That was amazing. First time in JSTS history for our last show. And yes, you all, I thanked you profusely. I'm going to thank you again. You were incredible, Chris. Thanks so much. Watch my message. You'll see more things being said. Oh no.
And that was real. Hey, there you go. Yeah, buddy. Thank you so much. This is your idea. I'm so glad I reached out to you when we both were fans of the show, and I recognize that you're in the same city as I, and that we could share these things that we love so much about the show. And we built a friendship over it. We built a podcast over it. The podcast may be ending, but I know our friendship will continue. And for all of you, thanks for spending the time that you did spend in the town square.
Thanks for watching and listening to the Jim and Sam Town Square. Please remember to like and subscribe and turn on that notification bell, not Doug Bell, so you don't miss an episode.
And if you're just listening to the podcast, please leave us a 5-star review. We really appreciate it.